Fellas, ladies, you looking for lotions? You looking for beard oils? But unfortunately, everything you get from mainstream got chemicals in it and they're probably killing you? No problem, we got you. Go check out my people from top to bottom hair and skincare. That's top to bottom hair and skincare. www.top2bottom, BOTTU, the U is for unique, M.com. Tell them I sent you.
Hey, what's up, y'all? How y'all doing? How y'all doing? How y'all doing? Welcome again to Ron's Opinion Don't Matter on the OG Network. Hopefully, y'all having a good, wonderful, blessed day. All is well. All is well. All is well. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing to know God. That's all I'm saying. It's a beautiful thing to know God. God is good. And it's a lot, you know. Today is one of those days I just want to sit back, chill, have a conversation about money. Yes, even though this is an extension of what kind of we were touching on yesterday. Of course, with my lives, a lot of times it goes sideways. But um, today is the day where the Feds are going to decide on interest rates. Again, just a prediction from my perspective is that they're going to probably lower it another quarter. And I'm not saying it again. This is not, oh, I got the answer, because I don't. I'm just making speculations. And this is what a lot of people is saying. That most people believe it's going to be a quarter. I think they usually announce it around 2 o'clock. But this is the reason why sometimes you have to, for those that care, and why you need to always sometimes pay attention to what's going on in government. And for people that always say, oh, it doesn't affect me, it does. It really does. And you might not really want to understand it, but a lot of these things, politically wise, decision making, affects your livelihood, affects the way you live, your lifestyle. It does have a big effect on it. And I had a lot of things that runs through my mind on a day-to-day basis about what's going on, what the country is, what direction the country is going into. And a lot of this I have to relate to how I invest, what I'm going to invest, and what moves I'm going to make down the road. And because I pay attention, it does help my portfolio. And sometimes, I think I got it right, and sometimes I don't. Sometimes I get it right, sometimes I don't get it right. But I know that this administration is opening up the doors for a lot of trying to unleash the energy, trying to bring down the cost of living. But with the situation with the Fed's lowering interest rates, I know people have a tendency to be loose with their money when they see that their expenses, or that they have disposable income, meaning they having more money left, having something left over to do other things with, other than just the basic everyday necessities. So with that said, is a lot of them, some of my investments. With that said, a lot of my investments are is the reason why I'm going the direction that I'm going. And I mentioned earlier about Ford Motor Company, about General Motors, and I'm back on this because this is one of the bigger reasons why I was going that direction, because my hope was that the interest rates would start to drop. Um, with the interest rates dropping, car sales will probably start to slowly taper on the upscale, because people will eventually be able to afford the car payments. So they might start selling them more. Right now, they're still, in my opinion, and it's just my opinion, the auto industry is still kind of in a stagnated state. They're moving some stuff, but they're not moving it fast enough. But I look at it as, this is probably, like, for me personally, because I know that at some point we're going to have to look into getting a new vehicle, another vehicle anyway. I'm pay attention. If I had to finance a vehicle, I don't want to pay a high interest rates. So therefore, I have to pay close attention to what interest rates are before I make that move. Same thing with the housing market. Housing market is in my opinion, a stagnated state. So their houses that are selling. But again, this is what the Feds use to stop all of the unnecessary spending, to stop these companies and these car dealerships and these banks and these mortgage companies and these house people that are selling houses inflating these prices so much that you buying houses that are not worth the money. They're worth the money that they're spending for. They're just not. And people say, "Oh, I buy what I want." No, the house isn't worth the money that you're spending on it. The car isn't worth the money that you're spending on it. In order for the Feds to control that, they got to raise interest rates. All right, so and what that does sometimes it has an effect on the car sales, housing sales, mortgage companies and stuff like that. It slows all of that up. Doesn't stop it 100%, but that is the tool that it uses, and it slows a lot of that up. So when someone goes to get an auto loan, they're gonna have a higher payment, which they're probably not gonna want, in hopes that they just say, "I can't afford it; it's too much." Some people still gonna do it, but like right now, with the interest rate, if they drop the interest rates a quarter, what's that going to do is that's going to open up a little bit more money for people to be able to afford cars, because the loans might be lower, be able to afford houses because the loans might be lower. They still got to make sure that the price of what they're buying fits in line with that too. But this still does somewhat relieve some of that too. So with me, that's the reason why I was investing in auto cars like Ford Motor Company, General Motors, and stuff like that. I was buying the stocks when they were low, for that very reason. Now, here's the thing: there's no guarantee that I'm going to make money, but right now it looks good. Right now it looks good. The thing you can understand about people is that people are irresponsible. But I'm gonna put something in the chat, a stock that I'm looking at today. Doesn't mean I'm gonna buy it. It's just something that I was looking at. And for those that are on the live, if you want, you can look into it yourself. That's your choice. But I already have some. So I'm in the red with it right now, but there's a small probability I might buy some more depending on what happens later on and where it goes. Hey, what's up, world away from here? God bless you. Welcome in. Welcome in. Please hit the like button if you haven't already. Appreciate you very, very much. It's all good. It's all good. Please keep making that wonderful music. We appreciate you very, very much. And I see your channel is moving up, and that's a great thing, and that's a blessing to see. But yeah, this is like a gambling company of like leisure, GLPI. I don't know if this IL, but whatever. But they're like a gambling leisure, like casinos, I guess, like that. And I had this stock for a little bit. And don't get me wrong, I don't encourage people to gamble, but whether you encourage them or not, that's what they're going to do. People won't gamble. And I've had it for a while. It does pay dividends. Usually what I'm talking about is most of the time is stuff that does pay dividends. But I'm looking at it, and my hope is that, well, I ain't gonna say my hope, but if it happens to fall, probably my whole trigger moment is probably under $40 a share. Like that's my trigger number. Like if it goes below $40 a share, then I might start buying some more. I'm in the red with it right now, but not by that much. But yeah, the Feds are going to be talking at 2:00. Really, this is why I tell people, like, get out of your feelings. Like, there's so much going on right now with this economy. So much going on now, and I swear, if people would have been paying attention when it was time to pay attention, and when it gotten out of their feelings, I'm not talking about rich people. I'm talking about people that's always complaining about. I'm sorry, y'all, but always complaining about their finances. And these are the people that I'm talking about. People who complain about their finances all the time. And this is hard, this is tough, this is that, this is that. You don't pay attention to the economy. You don't pay attention to politics, you don't pay attention to the Feds, you don't pay attention to what's going on and how this world operates. And then you keep wondering why you keep ending up in the same situation. You don't have no spending discipline, you don't have no investment mentality. So everything you do when you get up every day is you become a victim. You choose to be a victim because you don't want to face the fact that you're operating out of your feelings as opposed to using your intellect, and you're letting people talk you out of opportunity because because you hating a person because you can't stand the person because you don't even know the person. And y'all know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the president of the United States and all the stuff that he's doing. That I listen to the people that always seem to have a problem with him and all of this noise and noise and noise. But if they would have shut up and stopped listening to the noise and started listening to what the man was saying when he was running for president, you would have already have known what was about to happen, and you would have seen where the direction the country would have been going, and you would have had a chance or opportunity to prepare yourself for what's going on. It's one thing to hear the noises, one thing, the other thing is to benefit from it. And I paid close attention, and I'm glad I did. And I am extremely glad I did. If you're on this live, please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button. I appreciate it very, very much. Doesn't mean that I'm making a ton of money, but I see the difference. I see the difference. I see the difference in the results of what I'm doing. Another stock that I'm looking at, and I know I've been talking about stocks all week long, normally and some stuff, but another one that I'm looking at is PBR. I already have stock in this. I'm in the red with it right now. But this is not American company. I think, but it is related around fuel, gas, and stuff like that. But this is a company out of Rio de Janeiro. What's up, my brother out the pit? How you doing? God bless you. God bless you, man. Welcome to the live. Appreciate you very, very much, man. And I know that you are a proud husband, of course. And I know you're happy to see that your ladies over 500. We was talking about it yesterday. Queen Sackcloth over the big 500. That's what's up. That's what's up. We are extremely happy for her. We hopefully that she continues on until she passed me. Then I'm gonna be mad. So no. Nah, I would love to see that day, man, when she just, even if she shoot past me, I encourage her to keep going. And I encourage all the people on YouTube, especially the YouTube family, keep going, keep going, keep going. Hopefully y'all surpass me. I don't care. It ain't even got nothing to do with that. It's just that I love to see success, not just in myself, but I also love to see success in others, especially when you're putting in the work to do it and get there. It's a beautiful thing to watch, and it's a blessing to watch. And I love to see people keep going and not give up. But that's the reason why, again, back to what I was saying about investing. It's the reason why I don't give up. It's the reason why I love what I'm doing. I enjoy what I'm doing. It's fun for me. I enjoy it whatsoever. I enjoy it. You know what I mean? Doing, and my thing is that this is what comes out of not giving up and not letting people talk you out of what you had in your mind that you want to do. This is what comes out of sticking to it. This is what comes out of consistency and just never giving up. I mean, and this is what you get out of it if it's something of meaningful. Like my thing is this. You can even look at it from a negative perspective, right? If I'm a person that goes around stealing from people, what's the end goal to being a thief? Jail. That's the end goal. Jail. Possibly other things can come out of it, but I'm just going to use jail as a scenario. So if I go around stealing every day and I end up in jail, I accomplish my mission. I am successful at being a thief. I actually got the end goal. The end goal was jail. But because I was consistently going out there trying to steal and take, you know what I'm saying? So you successful, just not a dumb, it's a dumb reason, it's a dumb goal, but you were successful. You got what you was working hard for. Now you flip that onto a positive perspective. If you put the time in and the effort in for something else, you're going to get what you work for if you put enough time and effort into it. That's all I'm saying. I could be wrong, but I don't think I am. But yeah, PBR stock is a gas fuel energy company. Another one that I'm looking into. Yes, again, it does pay dividends. I am in the red right now, and I'm looking at, possibility of buying more. And we'll see where that goes. This one, I'm slightly in the red, but why not buy that much? And like I said, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not telling somebody what they should or should not do with their money. That's their choice. But I'm just telling y'all what I'm looking at today. And this is another one that I'm looking at. And I know the word says good, but it's actually a stop. and that's the stock code, which is good. And these ones does pay dividend. Good pays dividends on a monthly basis. The other one pays in dividends on a quarterly basis. But I actually Gladstone's commercial, I actually bought more already of it, and um, I actually almost doubled the amount of shares that I have in there. But I'm willing to take the risk of seeing what happens. Yesterday, crypto moved up. Yesterday, a little bit, not a drastic amount, but it moved up enough in one of my accounts that I had that I literally dumped off probably about 80% of what I was holding. And I just left the money there. Why? Because I have it in two different accounts. So the other one is more of a long term. Let's see what happens. This one was to get some quick dollars out of it. So I have it in two accounts. I grabbed it out of the other account and just roll with it and see what happens with that. It's so far so good. I mean, but like I said, the Feds are going to be talking later on. We'll see where that goes. Like I said, I am anticipating, like possibly getting into another vehicle. I've been waiting and holding out and holding out and holding out, and I'm still holding out because I don't want none. I want one, but I don't want one. But we'll see how this is, how the economy goes, what they do with the interest rates. You're probably going to see the stock market take a taper down at some point when you get close to where they get ready to talk. I don't know. Most of the time you see it go down. Sometimes you see it go up. At this point, I have no idea what direction it's going to go. But I'll be listening in at that 2:00 moment just to see what happens. See if the prediction was, for the most part, right. I don't think that this is going to have a detrimental effect on the stock market, but I think it's going to have. You're going to see some movement, either up or down, but I don't think it's going to be drastic. But it's all good. But I think if they lower it again, that's going to free up people's money based on their, if they got like flexible loans, interest rates, going down more. People are probably going to say, okay, the card payment might be a little cheaper. I might be able to go finance that car now that I wanted to. I might be able to go purchase that home that I wanted to because it's becoming a little more closer to affordable. Gas prices have been coming down. I mean, I would love to see them a lot more where I'm at, but this is what happens when you're in places that are ran by Democrats. Democrats don't care about your livelihood. They care about how much they can squeeze out of the people that they so-called serve. And this is why I just, I tell people, and I'm not saying all Republicans are this and that, but I lived in predominantly Democratic ran areas, and I see how ridiculously damaging they are to the community. They find any and every way to financially squeeze everything out of the community that they can. And the cost of living in places where Democrats run are always going to be this way until they change their philosophy and how they run their cities and how they run their towns. They ain't going to change. They're not going to change. They don't understand it. To me, I don't even think they understand how things work. They don't know how to drive the economy in their communities to where the tax burden is what isn't so pushed on the people that live there so much. And that's where a lot of this is starting to be detrimental. If I was running a lot of these places, I would not. A lot of what I see them do, it wouldn't be done that way for me. I believe that this is a competitive market, so therefore I want to bring revenue in so that I can, as much as possible, so that I will be able to relieve the tax burden of the community off and the cost of living in certain communities down by bringing in more revenue from other places. So it's not so much on the community that they feel like they're always being squeezed. Oh, we need to raise taxes. This is the reason why Chicago has the problem that it has, is because they elected somebody because they like the guy. They didn't elect somebody that was qualified. With this guy, Brandon Johnson in Chicago and Lori Lightfoot, this is why you don't elect people you like. You elect people that are qualified to do the job. When you elect people that you like, and that's your sole reason for doing it, or identity politics, this is what you get. This is why Chicago and the city of Philadelphia and a lot of these places have the problems that they have because they don't elect people that understand the economy, understand how to drive in business, and understand that part. They elect people based on who they like. They vote for people based on who they like. And when you do that, you get what that come with. They didn't even check the quality. It's like if I hire people just because I like the person, as opposed to looking for whether they qualified to do the job, I asked for that problem. I hired the problem. Why? Because I did not look at are they really qualified to do the job. I just looked at, I like this person. All right. Now you like the person. Then they come, when it's time to do the job, they half behind doing the job. They're not on work half the time. They're calling out all the time. They're manipulating, hiding all over the place because you like them. And their comprehension, they don't even comprehend what the job requirement. They don't have no dedication to the job whatsoever. They're costing you way more than it's worth, but you hired them because you like them. That's it. Or you hired them because they match your identity skin-wise. And I'm talking about both, any side of that. And that's where you make the mistake. Assuming somebody is something because of the color of their skin or because you like them, as opposed to whether they qualified or not. That's the biggest difference. And no, you're not going to know 100%, but some things are clear, rare flags. Like, you just got to pay more close attention. If you keep giving somebody irresponsible more money and you expect them to do better with it, you're making the mistake of, oh yeah, they're not ready yet. You can't keep doing it. You're feeding a dead horse. Like if we keep electing people that are irresponsible with money and government, then we ask for this problem because we keep electing them. What makes you think that something's going to change when you see the people that's been there for years and the country is in the amount of financial debt the country is in, and these people been there for years, and we keep letting them we keep electing them back in and giving them the same job, expecting something different. This is one of the reasons, amongst all the reasons, why I was glad that Trump went back into office. Why? Because he literally went totally opposite of what they were doing, and this is the way you actually are supposed to do it. Trump doing it like as if he'd been there for years. He was a professional. What's up, bro? What's up, bro? James? How you doing? God bless you. Welcome, man. Like I said, please do me a favor. Those that are on the line, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. And like I said, this, that's why you should pay attention. I don't care who you are. You should pay attention. Doesn't mean you have to vote a certain way. It means you should be paying attention to what's getting ready to happen, because when you pay attention, you have a better understanding of the direction of where things are going to go and how things are going to move. So as opposed to just making emotional decisions, you're actually making some better decisions on who you want, where you want, and if you're a person that's into investing, it will help you in your investing strategy. Oh, you voted for Trump 3 times. Oh, man. Well, this last election was the first time I voted for him. The other one I did not. Sad to say, I voted for Hillary, but it is what it is. My reason for voting for Hillary was not because I wanted Hillary. My reason for voting for Hillary because when Bill Clinton was in office, I actually I liked what he was doing as a president when he was in office. Financially, I was doing better then. So I was like, oh, if Hillary wins, we'll get her husband by default. That was my logic. It's probably. And the other thing is I didn't really know what to expect from Trump. And that was it. I mean, the first time I could say I did not know what to expect from him. So I didn't know. So I was like, man, we could get Hillary and her husband can advise her. He could probably make good decisions and steer her in the right direction. That was my logic. But after Trump was in there for 4 years, and I realized and I seen the job that he did, and that was like, oh yeah, I don't have to. This is an easy one now, and that's why in the last election, not only did I vote for him, I also went out and campaigned for him too, and I'm glad I did, and I do not regret one bit of it. Like if he was running again, I'd vote for him again, and I am happy with it because everything that I hope for in my vote. Everything that I hope for in my vote far as what he ran on, I'm getting right now. And I'm 100% satisfied. This is probably the most effective vote I've ever had in my life. And that's the real truth of it, man. Whether people like it or not, they can say what they want. And my thing is this is that again, but here's the thing. I don't even have to, not that I don't like, not that I have a problem with Trump. It's not that I have, it's not that I dislike Trump or like Trump. It's not even about that. What I do like him. I'm after digging more into his life. I actually like the guy, but that's not why I voted him because I like him. I looked at what he did 4 years. I looked at what his the way he was running the country and he was there for 4 years. So at the end of the day, I realized he was actually a decent person. And guess what? He was actually more than qualified to do the job. So it was an easy decision. It was really an easy decision for me. Trump was a wild card back then, total surprise to most people. And you know what? Out the pit, I agree with you. I would say, yeah, I did not expect them to be what it was and what it became, but the wild card now, I voted for him in 2016 for the Supreme Court justices, and okay, that makes sense. I get it, but like I said, and for me, I'm gonna get. I had in my head today. Yeah, that's not true, but whatever. Yeah, I know exactly what he said then, and my thing is this: is that he said what he would do. It might not be popular, but it's the right thing. And nothing that Trump's doing is based off is fascist. He's basically focused on his country for the most part. That's not fascist. He's focused on his country. And if you got a president that's making decisions, and I'm not saying that he's not going to I'm not saying that it's not going to have he's not going to help other countries, but the most focus should have been right here in this country. Ah, man, that's funny. You tell me one decision. Tell me one decision that Trump made that was fascist. So you tell me one decision that Trump made right now that is considered fascist. Because getting people out of your country that ain't supposed to be here is not fascist. That's exactly what you're supposed to do. It's just like letting people just come. Like here's the thing. It's just like when people let somebody when these cities let people squat in someone's home, like these squatters. Come in somebody's home and squat in your home that you don't own, nor did you work for, nor did you do anything to produce that home. But you just want to walk in somebody's home and squat there. And in these cities, like, even like they had these squatters laws that allow people to do that, it's a problem. So my thing is this: you're supposed to get them out of that house, not let them take over something that belongs to someone else, especially in that. And that's where the problem is at. I don't care about what happened 200-300 years ago and all that other stuff. I'm here right now. The people alive right now is the ones that matter. What happened 200-300 years ago, we learn from, but what's really important is you right here, right now, that's alive. So when people try to go back to, oh, well, this happened then, and I get all of that. But the reality of it is just you're living in the now. How does that going to affect you right now? So if I'm living right now and I let other people come into my country, invade my country where I'm living at, then what's going to happen is they're going to eat and take up all the resources that are here right now. Okay, again, I asked one question. And I'll still wait for the answer on that one. Yeah. And you know what? I listen, I'm out the pit. I will guarantee you that I'm going to say this. I think you're 100% correct. Now, I know Biden did. I know Joe Biden wouldn't vote for Kamala Harris because they knew she was stupid. They knew Kamala Harris was about as dumb as they get. I'm going to explain to y'all why I knew 100% that the Biden administration knew Kamala Harris was dumb. And they tried to hide it. You know how you know they tried to hide it? Long before the election. I want y'all to think about this. Remember when Joe Biden won the election? How long was it before we heard anything from Kamala Harris as far as speaking wise? First 2 years of Joe Biden's election, almost, you heard nothing from Kamala Harris. They tried to bury her. The first 2 years when Joe Biden was in office, the first 2 years, they tried to bury her. They didn't want nobody to talk to her. They didn't want her to say anything. They kept her quiet. Why? Because they knew she was dumb and they knew she was an airhead. They knew she was dumb and they knew she was an airhead. They knew she was stupid and they knew she was an airhead. I'm not even talking about when she started, like the list. I want y'all to think back because remember when everybody kept saying, where is Kamala Harris at? First 2 years when Joe Biden won in office, when he got into office, they kept asking, where's Kamala Harris? At first it was quiet, but after about a good 9 months, almost a year later, they like, wait a minute. Where's the vice president at? Why we don't hear nothing from her? Why is this? Why is that? Because they knew. They was like, man, we got to do everything we can to make sure that nobody hear this woman's talk. What's up, the real one? What's going on? God bless you. God bless you. Welcome in. That first 2 years of Joe Biden's election, after he won, they was trying to do everything they can do to make sure that she did not get in front of the media and start talking. That's why they knew. This had nothing to do with it. That's why they didn't even want to put her up on the front runner as a front runner. They knew she was stupid. That's how I know they didn't even vote for her. Kamala would have done some amazing job, and Joe Biden. Wait. You do you really think? Let me explain something to you. Harris first, exactly, because they knew she was dumb. They knew she was a dummy. And my thing is this. There is no way in the world Kamala Harris has the level, the intellectual capacity to sit down with Putin or any one of these foreign entities and have a conversation. Listen, she couldn't even handle the border. She had one job, and look how that went. Kamala Harris had one job, border czar, and look how that went. We ended up with 15 million illegal immigrants over here in this country because they gave her one job and she couldn't do that. And you're going to listen, if you can't handle one job, why would I hand you the whole country if you can't do one job? One job. If I gave you one job to go count pebbles, we got 1,000 pebbles, and I want you to sit down and count the whole 1,000. And you start, okay, I'll go count the pebbles. I come back and look to see if you count the pebbles. You never counted the pebbles, and they are scattered all over the place. They're not even organized. You mean it's and then you say, you know what, I'm gonna give you the whole business and let you run it. You no longer want. We're not gonna just let you count pebbles. We're gonna let you run this whole industry. You got to be out of your mind. You got to be out of your mind. There is no way in the world I would ever give Kamala Harris responsibility over anything. She's not even qualified to raise. She's not qualified to run a car. She shouldn't even be allowed to drive. That woman is dumb, completely stupid. You tell me one accomplishment Kamala Harris have accomplished. I'm not talking about people voting for her and her getting a job. I'm talking about her, Joe. What has she ever accomplished on any scale? She was in there for 4 years. She had one job and could not do that, not even halfway right. That is the biggest failure of her. Well, here's the thing. Again, I asked her one question and I never got an answer because I knew you didn't have one. But you have a blessed, wonderful day. So you say Trump is a dummy, but meanwhile, the stock market is at an all-time high, but Trump's a dummy. The border is closed. Illegal immigrants are being shipped up out of here. The economy is going roaring back. We got more money coming into this country through tariffs than we've ever had in forever. But Trump's the dummy. My stock portfolio is probably up 40% since Trump took office. But Trump's the dummy. Interesting. He has stopped 8 wars since he's been in office. But Trump's the dummy. Okay. Black women are going to come after me because of Harris. They already tried and they lost every single time. Because I wasn't voting for nobody based off their skin color. I'm looking at how they qualify. And trust me when I tell you, she wasn't even close to qualified. Every time I think about the probability that this woman might have been president, it's terrifying. This country would have been in its worst state ever if that woman would have won this election. Exactly. Listen, this is how smart Trump is. He almost, I'm not going to say single-handedly, but he knows the Democratic playbook so well that he has defeated them on every level. You can't be a dummy winning like this man is winning. Here's my point. So they say Trump is a dummy, but he literally he won the presidency. He won the House. He won the Senate. He has everything under his. Right now, he is winning all the way across the board. He is right now. America is the one of them is now the top respected country of all because of Trump right now. But he's the dummy. But Trump's the dummy. He stopped 8 wars, but he's the dummy. And you making a good point out the pit. This is my point. Trump has shown you, kind of piggybacking off of what Out the Pit said, he showed you how to overcome adversities. Because he did not just stop and say, you know what, I'm going to give up. He's the leader of the free world right now, doing the job better than any president that I've ever seen do it. But yet he's the dummy. He's a dummy. He literally took down the whole Democratic system. They had a stronghold on this country, and he literally took down the whole Democratic Party single-handedly almost, but he's the dummy. He exposed how stupid the Democratic Party is all the way across the board. He know their playbook so well that he's always 5 steps ahead of them, but he's the dummy. Please. Make sure y'all hit the like button. Make sure y'all hit the subscribe button. I appreciate y'all very, very much. What 8 wars? Yeah, if I told you there were 20, you would never go look. So there's no point. And you're right. He did say he was going to stop the Ukraine war. And guess what? He made a big, strong, conscious effort to do it. Now, that's the only one that he hasn't accomplished so far. But one thing I can say, he made every strong effort to stop it and still doing it. See, this is the reason why this is why I respect the man so much. Because even though he did not get what he was looking for, he still did not give up. He's still trying to stop that war to this day. See, because your punk behind Kamala Harris would have gave up and threw in the towel because they don't have that tenacity to keep going. Brainwashed, but I'm winning. Oh, Obama definitely gay. Yeah, he stopped the genocide that was going on over in Africa. They came over here in America and thanked them for it because the Biden administration annoyed them. But I guess you forgot that part. Good morning, Chopper. How you doing? God bless you. Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. How do you have respect for someone who doesn't respect you? Let me tell you how much the President of the United States respects the melanated community. You know how much he respected the melanated community that he was willing to send a National Guard in there to save the melanated community lives. That he was willing to send a National Guard in melanated communities and get these illegal immigrants out of our community because that's where the Democratic Party shoved them to. That's how much he respects them. He went in there and got the people out of their neighborhoods who's not supposed to be there. And the Democratic Party was the one who shoved them there. That's how much he respects the melanated community. Hate the man all you wants to. But guess what? The Democratic Party didn't remove them. He did. He the one who sent ICE in there and got them out of there. And the Democratic Party was the ones that keep trying to keep them there. They're not even fighting for the people that voted for the Democrats. They're fighting for people who aren't even legally able to vote. Not even supposed to be here. They're the ones that the Democrats are fighting for. They're not even voting. They're not even fighting for the people that vote for them. Look at Chicago. The mayor, Brandon Johnson, gets up there and talk about protecting black and brown people. But every time he makes a decision, it does not help black and brown people. You know who helped? Illegal immigrants. He's the one spending all of the Chicago's money on illegal immigrants and giving the people that voted him in office the middle finger. But y'all will not speak against that, but y'all sit there and talk about the president who went into Chicago and get those illegal immigrants up out of there so they stop eating up and taking up all the resources that's supposed to be for black and brown people in that community. That's okay, Chopper. He's just trying to make it. See, my thing is this, is that you obviously don't understand how the military works. You clearly don't see how that works. So you're saying that it's okay for people from other countries to keep consuming up the resources of black and brown people? That's okay with you? Because it's not okay with me. And if the people that put them, if it takes him to get them out of there, then I'm good with it. No problem. All right, who spent that money on? Where did that money been going to Ukraine? See, this is how idiotic y'all sound. That money already went to Ukraine long before Trump got in office. They already made them agreements. And they don't want to face this point. And my thing is this: I forgotten about the fact that Kamala Harris picked a thief to run as a running mate. I said, oh my goodness. picked a thief to be a running mate. And you can, like I said before, I always ask people this, and they never ever this. The level of ignorance is uncanny how y'all will sit there and argue, say, but listen, I'm American. This is my country. No one would ever tell me that it isn't. And when I see any president or any politician doing things that are more beneficial for everybody else and not right here in my country, I don't care what your skin color is. It's more important, in fact, this is where I live. So I want it to be more beneficial to where I live, because I want all Americans to benefit first for what we do. All resources to go to Americans first before anybody else. All right, let me ask you a question. So if another country was to invade this country, you okay with that? See, you got to, the way you keep peace is through strength. And if we don't have a powerful military, you're not going to have an educational system, because you ain't going to be able to protect it from foreign entities that may want to come over there and change the whole system. See, my thing is this. If you got people in there, if you got an educational system and they're shooting and people are invading your country, there is no education, because you can't peacefully go to school. So the first thing you got to do is create a safe environment to even have an educational system. And if that means I got to invest in my military to make sure that no other country would even attempt to give that a thought, then that's what I'm going to do first. Here's my point. If a kid went to school and he had 5 armed security guards around him as he going to school, there's a good chance nobody's going to mess with that kid. Why? Because the peace that he has is the strength that's around him. It's not him that has the peace. It's the strength that they see around him. Oh, don't mess with that person. It's just like a girl having 10 older brothers, they're big and strong looking brothers. They be like, y'all don't mess with her. Why? Because of family members. Because the strength and the peace that's around her. That's how you keep peace. Now, once you create a peaceful environment, then you invest into but my thing is this, before you can even get to that point, listen, the educational system that we are currently coming through, that we was in, is the worst. I wouldn't invest in it anyway, because the only thing that this educational system has been producing lately is sexualized children, confusing them in their head about their gender. That's what this educational system that we were currently in before he got in office wanted to teach kids. Oh, you were born in the wrong body. How is that going to help you build a house? How is that going to help you how to make cars and manufacturing stuff, when all you keep telling these kids about gender studies? So why would I keep investing in that type of industry when everybody else is building robots and we're building sexualized children? They're sexualizing kids. When you educating kids about sex and they're educating kids how to build robots and how to make semiconductors and how to make furniture and all this other stuff they're doing, but our kids over here are being educated with stupid stuff. You want a house, go work for it. You want food, go it. But you're not producing. This educational system was in the tool in the crap hole of what they were producing. I'm not lying to myself. I see it. I see it firsthand. I see it every single day of what this educational system was doing. And it was the worst. They don't know how to cut, they don't know how to measure, they don't know how to do anything. The only thing they know how to do is talk about sex. That's it. It's ridiculous. Yes, for poor kids. So you think it make a difference? My thing is this: they should be. If your kids is poor, so you saying if I'm poor, right? All right. So for poor kids, because I was poor, I grew up poor, right? So I grew up poor. So if I went to school and I'm poor, and all you keep talking to me about is sexualization, how is that going to help me to get out of poverty? How in the world is you telling me about sexualized stuff is going to help me get out of poverty? How about teach me about finances? How about teach me how to make something, how to build something, how to run a business? So if I grew up poor and I understood that I have something of quality, of value, then I could put that to work and get myself out of that. I know that's not all they teach, but I'm going to be honest with you, that's all they're producing. That's the vast majority of what they're producing out of the schools is sexualized kids. That's not all they teach, but that's what they're producing. Nothing is free. Nothing in this world is free. Education is not free. No matter how much you say free education, that's not free. It's coming out of somebody's pocket. So if you want free education, where are the slaves at that you're going to get to do it for free? So you want free, all this free stuff, right? Where you going? Who going to do? Where the slaves that you're going to get to do it for free? Where the teachers? Where are the teachers that you're going to enslave to teach it for free? Where the slaves at? Because that's what you're going to need to get it for free. Is you're going to need slaves. We have free 12th grade. Let me ask you a question. Okay, we don't have no such thing as free of none of our educational system is free. Not one bit of it. Them teachers get paid, don't they? Where do you think that money come from? The hardworking citizens of America who they get paid taxes to. So none of this is free. That building they got built for them to teach in was not free. All right, right. We pay tax. We pay taxes. Right? So that's my point is this. You keep saying free. It's not free. None of it is free. And my thing is this. I'm not going to keep paying taxes to get this type of results. I'm paying taxes. Why would I want to keep paying taxes just to produce a bunch of sexualized children and not a bunch of engineers, not a bunch of doctors, not a bunch of people that of value, carpenters, bricklayers, mechanics? Why would I keep funding the educational system when I don't see this coming out of it? So my thing is this. If this is what we're producing, then we need to cut it. Because we can get this type of people without funding it at all. If this is what we're going to get, we don't need to fund it. Money doesn't fix the problem. Money only finances it. That's all money does is finance the problem. Finance it. It doesn't fix it. You got to change this educational system and get the bull crap out of it. And get back to educational basics. Teach skills. That's it. I didn't say schools only teach text. I said that's what they're producing. When you see a lot of these kids come out of school, that's all they talking about is sex. And they confused in their head on what their gender are. And I'm not saying every single one of them, but it's way too much. Trump fixed the border. He fixed the economy. He brought down gas. He got the gas prices down. He's shipping illegals up out of here. So what are you talking about? Because you need to. So you think the world is peaceful. I'm explaining to you why America has always had, why most of this stuff really never happens in America. Not saying that it won't, but the reason why America don't have this type of problem when it comes to this type of stuff is because we have a powerful military, because we invested in our military. That's the reason why we don't deal with the level of terrorism that other countries do. But here's the thing. Now we got the problem. You know why we got the problem? Because we had an invasion of 15 million illegals coming over here because Joe Biden and Kamala Harris did not use the military to put a stop to it when they should have. See, if Joe Biden and Kamala Harris would have put a stop to it at the border and sent these people back and never let this happen, we wouldn't be dealing with the expense of it right now. Therefore, we could have channeled that money to where it's been more to something else. But unfortunately, we got to get them up out of here because it is not good for any. When you have invasive people, it is a problem. And you know what? You're right. And that's why we need to get back to what America, the reason why, once again, that's all because of Joe Biden. Joe Biden was the one that caused the situation to happen with these farmers. Because he was the one that started putting all these restrictions on them. He was the one that started putting all these regulations on them. He was the one that was trying to get them to get rid of all of their diesel equipment and their gas equipment and trying to force them to do all this electric stuff. He was the one that was over-regulating them. So this is not an incident where it just happened since Trump been in office. The reason why these farmers are struggling is because of what the Biden administration was doing to them. I know what I'm talking about. That's the reason why the Amish, by and large, voted for Trump, because they were sick of it too. And they don't even vote. This is how stupid they are. Inflation has increased 17% under the Trump administration. You don't even know nothing about inflation, bro. If inflation was increased by 17%, the Federal Reserve right now would not be lowering interest rates. And that's exactly what they were trying to do. No country is being aggressive with America, and that's why they're not. Because we have a military. Listen, if you if you got a neighborhood where you know that the people in that neighborhood don't mess around and they don't play games, who gonna mess with them in that neighborhood? Nobody. I ain't even got to go to the country. I can just go to a basic community. If a woman has a bunch of strong boys that know that they're about that life, ain't nobody gonna mess with them. That's exactly what happens in your country. If you got a strong military and you got a solid, strong military, that's the reason why no one's aggressive. They would love to be, but they're not. But let Kamala Harris have won this election, and they would have saw America just as weak as they could be, because they already saw the weakness in Joe Biden. That's why they invaded the country. That's why they came across the border. That was a great opportunity to do so. Why? Because we had a weak president, Joe Biden. We had a weak vice president, Kamala Harris. And that's why we had that 15 million invasion. Why? Because they wasn't going to do nothing about it. Soon as Trump got in office, he started showing peace. He started showing the strength of America. What happened to it? They stopped. They don't even come no more. That's the difference. That is the difference. All right, my brother, take care. God bless you. That is the difference. Any family that shows strength, nobody messes with them. And I agree. I'm going to be honest with you, Typhoon. My thing is this, is that I'm not exactly sure all the ins and outs about the China and Taiwan, but my thing is this: America should always do, this is just my opinion, we should always do what's in the best interest of our country first. That's it. And I'm not too sure how all of the ins and outs with the situation with Taiwan and China. I don't know about that. But one thing I do know is this, is that if it's what is in the best interest of our country. Now, here's the thing. I got money invested in Taiwan semiconductors. If it's in the best interest of America, then I'm good with it. But I don't know the ins and outs of that between the two, and I can't really speak to it. Yeah, printing money don't help. But my thing is this, is that, and this goes back to what I was telling people earlier. When I was telling people earlier, what's up, Ant Like the Bug? How you doing, brother? God bless you. Welcome in. When I was telling people earlier, a long while ago, and this is my point, is this, is I said, if Trump was able to accomplish what he was accomplishing as a whole, when he ran on, I said, if he's able to do what he run on, and he actually able to do it when he gets into office, you're not going to need the Federal Reserve to help control inflation for the most part, because the ideas and the concept that he already put in place is going to control inflation in itself. And lowering the interest rate is that's going to be icing on the cake. Case in point, gas prices down. That's the first thing you have to do, is to get the cost of energy down. You got to stay on that part first. You got to bring down the cost of energy down so that companies that are running, their energy costs, their cost to operate your business can go down. That's the first thing you got to do, is to get the businesses' costs down. Then those businesses that have a business, now you got to give them time to get back to having some cash reserve. That's what I'm trying to tell y'all, to have some cash reserve, meaning that if businesses don't go well, we have a cash reserve for those hard moments. Then you eventually start to see prices taper down. But a lot of these businesses suffer so bad under Joe Biden administration, that's going to take longer to actually fix. Why? Because this is what businesses have to deal with. If you never ran a business, you don't know what I'm talking about. You have no clue what I'm talking about. You don't know what I'm talking about. Most of these businesses are running off of borrowed money. And I'm talking about small businesses for the most part. Walmart, those big businesses, they can stomach it because they got cash reserve. But your mom and pop stores, they don't have it like that. You need to, right. And that's my whole point. So if we had an inflation problem right now, which we don't, the Federal Reserve has been lowering interest rates. They're not going to lower interest rates if we had an inflation problem. See my point? We don't have an inflation problem. So that's why they haven't increased interest rates. But when Biden was in office, they did. Why? Because we had an interest rate, we had an inflation problem. And in order for them to fight the inflation that the Biden administration created, they had to raise interest rates. Last two meetings, they lowered them. See my point? No, listen, again. So you keep trying to you're trying to make an argument of The reason why they do it is to avoid it. So why they didn't do it with Joe Biden? Why didn't they? If that's the case, why didn't they do it when Joe Biden was in office? All right, so you said they were lower than ever. When were they lower than ever? Who was in office when they were lower than ever? So you said, in 1 second. Sorry about that, y'all. So who was in office before that? Biden wasn't in office then. Trump was in office. Biden wasn't in office when Trump was in office. Where was the interest rates when Trump was in office the first time? Before he left office, where were they at? See, Trump gave over Biden a great economy that they destroyed because they used that bullcrap COVID stuff to do it. They were so jealous of the job that Trump was doing that they pulled that COVID card out the bank to try to destroy the economy because they were so jealous because the average person was starting to live better. Now I'm getting ready to go into a whole nother world. They saw that the average American started to live better under Trump and they did not like it. So they pulled that COVID card. Why? To go attack the economy. So for what? So that because they could not do anything else, so that they could put you back right where you belong, broke. See, y'all think that this is a one-person game. See, they did not like the fact that people were living well under Trump. And that's why they pulled that COVID card and went and attacked the economy as hard as they could. And this is where Trump didn't have the experience the first time. But that's why Trump came back the way he came back when he won again. Because he didn't see that one coming. He was blindsided. This is where they show how gangster these politicians were. Oh, I was living very well under Trump. Gas prices was at an all-time low. My money was free. I had a whole lot of free cash under Trump. And if you didn't, then something was wrong with you. I can't even argue. And I didn't even care for him at the time. But I ain't going to argue with facts. But once he got out of office and Biden administration started doing that crazy stuff, they started it when he was in office. Once they got him out and once they stole that election, they went ham. Inflation went, this is how stupid people are. Inflation went low because of COVID. Inflation went low because of COVID. See, my thing is this. Inflation started when they kept going. When they told everybody, oh, quit your job, stay home, do all this other stuff. The government will take care of you 100%. That's when inflation started. And they just kept pushing that envelope and pushing and pushing and pushing as if there was an unlimited resource of money. But then they realized, hey, wait a minute, nobody's working. Nobody's producing anything. Nobody's actually doing anything. Where are we going to get this money from? And then the Fed stepped in, increased interest rates, drained all that money out of there. Boom, it's gone. Now everybody complaining they broke. Oh, I knew what was coming. I saw it. That's why I was well prepared. That's why I was well prepared. See, I'm not talking like a stupid idiot. I was well prepared. I saw what was coming. And I mastered the game. And I benefited from the bull crap. Stimulus checks creates lazy people. Keep handing people stuff is going to create a lazy generation. That's why this generation that's coming up now, the ones that was getting all that free money, don't want to work for it. They don't even have it in them no more. Why? They don't have that work tenacity in them no more because they so used to being handed stuff. So you created a vast amount of lazy people who don't want to work now. And this is what you end up with. An unproductive society that think that everything's supposed to be handed to them. Unlike me, I kept working. I said, no, I don't want none of that. Because at the end of the day, I know how this economy works. And the back end of that is going to be by far worse than what y'all think is coming. That's on them if they can't afford the house. If you understand economics, you would be able to. Why work for a dead note? Well, then go change it. What you going to work for? My thing is this. I hear what you're trying to say as opposed to a dead note, but my thing is this. Again, he's saying it's a dead note. But obviously you don't understand. So what are you going to exchange for goods and service other than the note that you got? So if you wanted to go buy something, since you have a problem with the dead note, what are you going to use in exchange for food? Since that note is dead to you, then don't use it. If that note is dead to you, then make sure you don't ever use it. And act like the bug is absolutely right. And that's exactly what it did. I still got that one stimulus check they gave out. I never spent it. It's invested and it's still there. $40 million people don't need food assistance. I can tell you right now they don't. Sorry about that, y'all. I had to do that. I get that out. 40 million people don't need food assistance. 40 million people need, listen, then go grow your own food. Go make your own food. Go fish. Go do something. So you want it to be handed. 40 million people don't need it. They need to go do something to get it. That's bullcrap. I'm sorry. Now, some of them may need it because of physical problems. Some of them may need it because they can't physically go do it. But I can guarantee you that when you start looking at these 40 million individually wise, you're going to find out a lot of them can go do it on their own. They just don't want to because they're lazy. Because they're lazy. That's what that problem is. You go look at these 40 million individually. They walking, talking, doing all that stuff. I don't get nobody excuse. I had a family member that was in a wheelchair and had his own business. Matter of fact, he had two of them. So I ain't trying to hear none of that stuff. If a man in a wheelchair can create something and start his own business and be successful, there's no excuse for those 40 million. They just want to be handed to them. As opposed, you take these 40 million and you tell most of them to get up and actually go do something, you'll find out, hey, this is how you get yourself out of that situation. This is how you get yourself. handouts, there's a difference between incentivized and handouts. Here's my point to that. Since you say brought out handouts, we're going to use Elon Musk as an example because a lot of people always try to bring out, oh, he got help from the government. If you go look at the amount of tax revenue that the government receives through Tesla, it is extremely by far more money than the government helped them out. See, the reason why the government does that in some cases is to incentivize businesses to be successful that's going to provide jobs. You know, jobs that people work for. So therefore, if the government incentivizes you to create a job or industry, and then people are able to have a place to go work, and then the tax revenue that's going to come back from that, from the business, the sales of the vehicle, and the people with paychecks that's working, did you really give them anything, or did you really give them anything? No, what you did was you incentivized him to create an industry that brought back more tax revenue in a labor market where the government benefits from anyway. Elon Musk did so pay the money back with interest and said he was happy to do it. One time, Elon Musk was the single most high paid, one single person paid the most taxes in 1 year than anybody in the United States of America at one time. He, and individually wise. Most companies do not. Go start a business and you'll find out how that works. Here's my point to that. Now, and like the Buck said, everybody spend more for entertainment than anything else. And he's absolutely correct. These very same people will never want to adjust or backtrack their lifestyle because they're so busy trying to impress or keep up with the Joneses. And then want everybody else to be responsible for their bad, poor spending habits. They want to blame everybody else because you ran up the credit card and now you can't afford to pay. You want to blame everybody else because you bought a house for too much money because you didn't educate yourself to know that that house was not worth the money. You let somebody tell you it was. You want to blame everybody else because you financed that car and now you can't afford to pay the car loan. That's everybody else's fault. You didn't decide none of that. That's everybody else's fault. You didn't decide none of that. Yeah, okay. Listen, my thing is that I don't have no problem with somebody being rich. If somebody's rich, I have no problem with that. Now, I have a problem with how you got there. If you're a thief, then you shouldn't have it. If you stole it from somebody else, you shouldn't have it. But here's what gets under my skin about people. They'll go work for a company and then drain that company dry and get mad when the company says we got a business because we're not making money. Go run your own business and find out how hard it is to make a profit and how hard it is to get above water with your own company. Then you can talk. Because if you never ran a company, you don't know what you're talking about. You were clueless on this. Oh, that's not for sale. Not Jesus said the rich won't inherit the heaven, not because they're rich. That's not the reason why he said that. He said it is because of the reason why, because their mentality in the rich. Because if you told a person that was rich to give away all of their stuff and follow me, what did the rich man do? He didn't follow, because his riches mattered more. So it has nothing to do really with the riches. He's making a point. They're going to love the riches more than they love Christ. That's the reason why he said it's going to be harder. He didn't say impossible. He gave an example to show you how hard it would be. Because they're going to love. Listen, people always say money is the root to all evil, and it's not. The love of money is the root to all evil. They always leave out the love part. The love of money, because money don't have a personality. Money don't have no, money can only do what you pick it up and do something with it. That's it. It is the individual that's the problem. So if you love it that much, you will not follow God because you love the money more. It becomes a God to you. For the love of money is the root to all evil. Because the love of money is what motivates people to do evil a lot of times. Not all the time, but a lot of times. I don't know what you mean by that's wrong, but what I'm saying is not wrong. I know I'm right about that. Now, good year, 12. My advice to you, this is why I invest in banks. I don't put my money in the bank. I buy banks. You know why I buy banks? Because I understand that the government do dumb stuff. That is Trump a Christian going to heaven? Now, I've heard Trump talk about Christ. I heard Trump talk about God. I'm not God to say rather the man is going to make it to heaven or not. I can't speak to that. That's God's place. Now, if his book is written in the Lamb's book of life, then he's going to heaven. But that's between him and God. I'm not the one to determine whether somebody's going to heaven or not. I know I am, but I can't speak to that. That's between Trump and God, not me. Jesus said, if you live by the sword, you will die by the sword. Does that mean you can't own firearms? No, it doesn't. What it means is that shouldn't be your first intent, is to pick up a weapon and hurt somebody. That's all it means. It means that there is a time for war. There is a time to defend yourself. And whatever weapon you use to defend yourself is fine. But if something happened, don't let that be your first bite. The other thing is, don't be a person that goes out there intentionally trying to hurt people and using weapons and swords to do it. That's why the Bible says, thou shalt not kill. See, there's a difference between killing somebody and killing and having to take a life because they're trying to take yours. That's the difference. Because in the Bible, you've seen when God sent them, they had to kill people. And why? Because some people have intentions to kill you. So it's not even about the sword. It's don't let that be your first reaction. It's to pick up a sword and go kill or try to hurt somebody. That's the reason why when Peter cut that ear off, Jesus healed the ear and said it to people. It's like, yo, look, don't let that be your first reaction. And the other thing is this is supposed to be this way. But the bigger thing is, when something happened, be patient, be kind, try to avoid conflict, as opposed to wanting to just and go into it. You get into an argument, now you want to go get weapons and kill each other over an argument. That's stupid. No, avoid it. Just try to avoid it at all costs. And if you run into a situation where you can't, then you got to do what you got to do. He cheated on his wife. Yeah, he did. I think he did anyway. I'm not sure, but he did. Trump kills all the time. Who did he kill? Oh no, my point, Goodyear, my point was is that if I already know that this is things that they're going to do, at the end of the day, you got to know how to play this game too. You get what I'm saying? So if I know that the banks are never going to lose, then I'm going to buy the bank. See, my thing is this. Yeah, I get what you're saying, But if you're a shareholder of the banks, and listen, everybody's taking that money and they putting it in the bank. The bank is taking that money and they loaning it out to people. They're making crap tons of money off of interest, right? If the bank is a publicly traded bank, the shareholders are going to share in that through a form of a dividend. So instead of putting your money in the bank, I'll buy the bank. I'll take the risk and buy the bank. Why? I'm going to own the shares so that I can benefit from whatever the bank is doing. And so far, it's been pretty good. I own Bank of America stock, and I'm up 60% from what I originally bought it at. And I'm just using Bank of America as an example. That was a point that I'm making, Goodyear. I get what you're saying, but my point is this. If you know that information, use it to your advantage. Go buy the bank. When you see an opportunity to buy the bank, buy the bank. Let me tell you something to you. If you cut taxes, if you overtax the rich, and if you overtax the businesses where they're not making a profit, guess what's going to happen? There goes jobs. If businesses don't make a profit, there goes jobs. That means they're going to shut down. So you can't overtax the rich. If they got companies and businesses, you're supposed to make sure as a government, number one, make sure they don't monopolize. That's what the government really should be doing. The other thing is this. You should not let them, they should not be overtaxed because they're the ones providing jobs for people. And the government's going to get the taxes out of that anyway. They don't have a monopoly. Now, here's the thing. If they have a monopoly, if there's a business that have a monopoly, guess who gave it to them? I wanted you to answer this for me, Fresh. If businesses right now have a monopoly, I wanted you to answer to me, who gave them the monopoly? How did they get the monopoly?
But yes.
By government? What did government do to help them monopolize? All right, so again, I'm explaining to you, and I know you're not going to agree with me because it is what it is. But the reason why the people got to monopolize, I'm explaining to you what happened. It's our consumers' fault. It's consumers' fault. You can blame government too. They play a part in that. But the bigger part is consumers. We are, because we're so easily manipulated. Here's my point to that. The reason why we don't have Kmart is because everybody went to Walmart. Because their Walmart was offering at the time cheaper prices. See, as a consumer, when you start to run to the same place because you want to chase cheaper prices, all you're doing is giving that company leverage over everybody else. That's what happens. Consumers run, they're like Amazon. Everybody's running to Amazon. So when you got these malls that have mom and pop businesses, small businesses, they can't compete with that. Because everybody's running to Amazon because they're too lazy to go to the store. They're too lazy to go into the mall. They want you to bring it to their doorstep so they don't have no reason to go back out the door, and they want to be lazy and unhealthy. But if they got out and went to the stores and forced these companies to compete and support local businesses, then there won't be no monopolization because these companies that big wouldn't have that power. We giving it to them because we're consumers keep running to the same place. It is free market because you can go anywhere you want to buy stuff. But what we do, we follow the massive. We have a tendency to follow the massive. Let's do what everybody else is doing. And we are the ones that put the small businesses out of business because we stopped spending money with them. Because Amazon was more convenient just dropping it off at your door. We don't follow what's available. We created that. We created that as consumers. We created that environment. That's the reason why we're in the situation we're in. That's why there's no longer a Kmart and there's only Walmart. And if we ain't careful, there won't be a Target. We're creating that situation. Now, the government's job is to make sure, like, here's my point. When I think it was, I forget what phone company it was, but Comcast was trying to monopolize. And they stepped in and they put a stop to it. If we had only one phone company, that phone company will be able to charge whatever they want. The government's job is to make sure that this does not happen when people are the ones that most of the time is causing it. When you see a company trying to buy up all these other companies, you're supposed to stop it. As the government say, no, we ain't doing that. Because if we give Verizon the right to buy AT&T and buy T-Mobile and buy up all these other companies, guess what's going to happen? Verizon is going to have the power over your cell phone calls because he eliminated all the competition. So the government's job is to make sure in America that you don't let no company monopolize. But usually when it gets there, it's because everybody ran to the same thing. Apple would not be Apple right now if all these people running around buying iPhones, right? iPhone is by far the most expensive phone you could buy. Why? Because everybody, I want an iPhone. Because it's a status symbol. It's not a better phone. It's a status symbol. That's all it is. I never owned an iPhone in my life, and I never will. I don't care for it. But it's a status symbol. Charge you more money for a status symbol because if you look at how they make cell phones and all that's involved, there is nothing more special about it that justifies the cost that you're paying for it, other than the status symbol. Like people, oh yeah, well, these are designer shoes. Meanwhile, they made of the same material that all the other shoes are made of. But because it has somebody's fancy name on it, you go spend $300 for a pair of shoes because it has Michael Jordan's name on it. That's your choice. That's your money. But you can't blame somebody else because Michael Jordan sneakers are $300. Y'all made it worth that because y'all was willing to spend it. I never owned a pair of Jordans. And I never will because that ain't worth the money to me. Nothing has that much value to me that I will pay $300 for a pair of sneakers. But for those that do, that's their choice. But I buy Nike stock. Now that has value because I see people buying the sneakers. So what you do with your money is the reason why you end up in a situation that most people end up in. They're irresponsible with their money and they don't want to be held accountable for it. They want somebody else to bail them out. And listen, it's in the politics too. You look at the government. They're just as irresponsible with money as the citizens are. Because if they wasn't, the national debt wouldn't be as high as it is. So all the people that has been in Congress and all of these political positions for years is solely responsible for the conditions of the government as far as the debt go. But yet, guess what? People keep voting for them. As if they're going to change it, and they're not. They haven't changed it in the 15, 20 years that they've been in office, and you keep voting for them. We are responsible for the conditions and what we create. Can't keep blaming everybody else. I don't smoke cigarettes. Let me explain something to you. And this is just me personally, and I'm getting ready to get off of here. But if you're a young person, listen to me carefully. It's one thing to get an education through the school system, and I have no beef with that. Go to school, learn all you can. But listen, if you're a young person, go to school and learn all you can. But I'm going to tell you the bigger picture you want to look at is embrace learning. This is, if you're a young person on my live and you talk and you listen to what I'm talking about, I don't offer nobody no advice on this, but this one I will say, go to school, get all you can out of school. But what matters the most is where your brain is at. Never turn down the opportunity to learn how to do something. My father told me a long time ago, always embrace knowledge. Make sure you have more than one skill that you have mastered. That way, if one thing doesn't work for you, you can always go pull the other one out and put it to work until you find one that is working for you, that is producing the lifestyle in which you want for yourself. No one can do that for you but you. So my thing is just go to school, get the education, get all you want out of that. But the bigger picture is have some determination, have some drive, learn some real skills that have value to them. The things that people are willing to pay for you to do, regardless of what that is. Put all of that into work for you. Be the best at what you do. Master, refine your skills. That way, your value is increased because you chose to increase your value. And people will see the value in you and be willing to pay for that. No one goes to see no one just went to watch the Chicago Bulls play. A lot of people went to watch Michael Jordan perform. Why? Because he was great. People went to watch the Lakers, but they also really went because Shaq and Kobe and all of the great players. Why? Because they refined their skills. People choose a mechanic based on the mechanic's performance. When you go get your car worked on, and if every time you get your car back, it's a problem, but you find a mechanic that makes sure that the work is done, and they might actually be a little more expensive than the others. But because they do great work, you will continuously go back to that mechanic. It's just like a person working in your house. You get somebody that does great work to your house, guess what? You're going to seek them out every time. Why? Because they're the ones, is because their skill is refined and is great. That's what creates value. Education is one thing. Another thing is being unique in your skill set, that everybody can't match your skill set. And guess what? If you in poverty, you'll get yourself out of it. Why? Because people will be willing to pay for your skills. And that's real talk. And anyway, I got to get ready to get up out of here. Every single one of y'all have a blessed, wonderful day. And like I always say, Ron's opinion don't matter with a whole lot of stuff. But the one thing Ron's opinion does matter is when it comes to having a relationship with Jesus Christ. That right there matters more than anything else. That right there matters more than anything else. If you have a relationship with Jesus Christ, great. That's a beautiful thing. And I'm glad you gave your life to him. And if you don't, I suggest, and that is my opinion, and that's the one that does matter, is that you get a relationship with Christ. Because at the end of the day, that's the only thing that matters. We can talk this stuff till we blue in the face, and it don't mean nothing in death. But the only thing that matters in death is having a relationship with Jesus Christ. That is by far the one that matters the most. And with that said, I'm getting ready to get up out of here. Every single one of y'all have a blessed, wonderful day. I'm out of here. Peace. Make sure y'all check out the 30-second commercial, just in case you're looking for some hair care and skin care products. Thank y'all. Very, very.
Fellas, ladies, you're looking for lotions, you're looking for beard oils, but unfortunately everything you get from mainstream got chemicals in it and they're probably killing you? No problem, we got you. Go check out my people from Top to Bottom Hair and Skincare. That's Top to Bottom Hair and Skincare. www.top2bottom, BOTTU, the U is for unique, M.com. Tell them I sent you.